All right, next up. Next up is from Erad Prime. Here's why Star Citizen will never die. I used to think that Star Citizen will never die until this year. So I'm really curious what he has to say here, because I kind of feel like they're doing a really good job of consuming themselves, spending an entirely too much money on offices and purchasing companies and not making that money back this year in terms of ship sales and things like that. Very uninteresting ship sales. And I think it actually has the potential to. It's kind of scary. This is the first year that I feel like it could.
Quite frankly, it's almost a meme at this point. It seems that every time a new space game comes out, there are some people who are very eager to deem it a Star Citizen killer. We've heard it with Starfield, of course. We've heard it with Star Wars Outlaws. We've heard it.
Other games will not kill Star Citizen. Star Citizen will do it to itself. That's what I believe.
With Everspace 2, hell, we've even heard it with Spaceborne 2, and of course, reality very quickly kicks in, as these are not Star Citizen killers at all. In fact, I, for one, believe that Star Citizen will live forever, and I will tell you why only after talking about this month's giveaway, which is a Drake Vulture.
It takes money to do that, so that eventually it will go.
Best in Show edition, brought to you by my generous Patreons and YouTube members, whom I thank a lot for supporting this channel. To enter is very simple. You can subscribe and answer the question I'll ask during the video. 10 comments will be picked for the lucky draw, or you can become a Patreon or YouTube member and automatically register by entering your name on Discord, and that's it. So, why do I think that Star Citizen will never die? Well, it's actually very simple, and I will not waste further time by going straight to the point.
They will keep scamming their audience. I don't know.
Right now, it's not because players will never abandon the game to play something else. It's not because Clan Imperial Games may declare bankruptcy one day, or it's not because the studio could one day close the game servers.
Okay.
No. The one thing that will grant Star Citizen the privilege to never fall into oblivion will be something that very few games have even had in the entire history of the video gaming industry, and that is a legacy. Let me explain. So,
Star Citizen's legacy is currently a joke. So I am very curious of his explanation, because the current Star Citizen legacy is the way a majority of people look at Star Citizen is, oh, it's that scam game that never came out. Oh, it's that game you have to buy an $800 spaceship in. That's its legacy.
So, first, I think that it's only proper to mention that the one accomplishment that's pretty much on everyone's lips when it comes to talking about Star Citizen, and that's the fact that it is the second most crowdfunded project in the entire history of humanity after EOS, which is a cryptocurrency, by the way. By the time I am making this video, we are already well past the $600 million mark in terms of funds collected, and given the fact that Star Citizen is about to have its annual convention, CitizenCon, and then the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, which is Star Citizen's biggest sale of the year, I would have...
So basically only crypto bros are as dumb as we are. That's basically what that says. Yeah, sounds about right.
I'd be surprised if we end up getting closer to the $700 million mark sooner than later. What all of this means is that if given a vision, a competent development team, and a charismatic leader, people are willing to support a project that would otherwise be deemed impossible to make by the traditional actors of whatever project would be concerned, in our case, a video game. However, all of that is not enough.
They have competent developers in certain spaces, it seems like, but without the ability to inject actual gameplay into the game yet, it's hard to feel that the actual studio is filled with competent developers, right? It's one of these things where they delivered on parts of the project, but not other parts. So for me, it's hard to sit here and go, yes, this is like a completely competent studio that is that is going to be capable of delivering Star Citizen. One of the few things that I've not had confidence in is their ability to deliver Star Citizen, right? That's the thing that I've really struggled with. Are they going to be able to do it? I don't think so, right? And like up to this point, it's not that I don't think so. I'm still here because I believe it's possible. But up to this point, they haven't proven that they could. And a lot of these things come from the fact that we're waiting for them to like bring over the polished features from Squadron 42 into Star Citizen. What do those look like? That will change my opinion on whether or not this, playable imagery, or this, this is an art project for right now. This playable art project becomes a game, right? Is when they deliver polished game features to the game. And for now, we're not quite there yet. So I do feel that they're really competent in the art aspects. Their tech is insane. And anytime I've spoken to anybody, they seem like they know what they're doing, but there's something getting in the way, right? That something probably is Squadron. And that's why I think if we see these Squadron features come over and they're polished and they're good, that can instill some confidence in us that the project will live on. But till now, it's a little bit hard to see that. And that's why I think it's really important at the end of this year, we do see some of those features come in and they're polished and they feel good, because that can be like, all right, they get it, But right now, it's kind of hard to feel like they get it.
And without anything to show for over a certain period of time, people would start to lose faith, going as far as bailing out and calling the project a scam, a phenomenon we've seen happening throughout the now 11-year-long history of the Star Citizen project on a few.
Yep. And I think the thing is it's happening a lot more now than ever.
Occasions. There has been, however, one brilliant idea that has allowed the project to survive the multiple existential crises the project has had to endure. One idea that managed to keep the support of the backers while continuously attracting new ones, and that idea has been the combination of open development and the maintenance of an illusion of full transparency, a formula that has proven most effective.
I like the way he said that. I really like the way you said that, Eradicator, is the illusion of transparency, because that's what it is. It's an illusion. They're transparent when it fits and it works for them, and they're not transparent when it doesn't. Any post-mortemers?
And that will, without a doubt, become a benchmark or a case study for anyone or any company willing to try to reproduce this financial success Cloud Imperial Games has had with Star Citizen. The next element that I believe will cement Star Citizen's legacy is the studio's ability to create new technologies that other games can't reproduce. Those who are playing Starfield will know what I'm talking about, more on that later. Among the achievements of Star Citizen, what could mention the ability...
It is a design decision to not make it is so easy to look at Star Citizen and go, yeah, we're not going to do it that way, because it's way too complicated.
Ability to seamlessly traverse the entire game universe without a single loading screen.
Who cares?
The ability objects...
Who cares? What does that do? What does that do? So for an entire... I don't get a loading screen to find out that there's nothing to do. Who cares?
Have to persist in their state indefinitely, which is incredibly difficult to do in a massively multiplayer online game. The possibilities to seamlessly traverse a planet's atmosphere, including gas giants, something no other game has ever managed to.
Okay, listen. I care, but without the gameplay there, it doesn't hit as how it should. Because again, after playing Starfield, that is what I felt was missing from Starfield, right? Is us flying our spaceships more, and especially flying them from the surface out of the atmosphere, right? So without the elements of a purpose to go to these planets and to do that interaction, that's what makes it not hit the way it should, right? And that's why I'm saying who cares, is none of that matters if you're not delivering the other elements. That's what I mean, okay? Just to be clear.
And an overall level of details that might seem ridiculous at first, but that in the end significantly reinforces the feeling of immersion and believability players have when playing the game. And the pinnacle of that technological effort will be the introduction of server meshing, which we should hear more about this coming October. A technology that will allow the game to seamlessly transfer data between servers.
If we don't hear about server meshing at SitCon, do you think there'll be riots?
Allowing players to not only interact in real time with players placed in other servers, but also seamlessly transfer from a server where you would be in a game location to another server where you would be in another game location. That is how the studio will make its final vision of the game possible, and that is how a game of the scale of Star Citizen will finally come to life, something that has to date never been achieved in any other game. So then you might ask about what would happen if Cloud Imperial Games were to cease any activity. Would all of these efforts have been done for nothing?
Yes.
Well, this is precisely where I think that Cloud Imperial Games' work will have a lasting impact.
It's not like we're going to be able to take over these servers like other games have done. So that's the part that I'm confused. So I'm going to let him cook and see where we go here.
The future, because I don't see why the studio wouldn't profit from all of the advancements they made possible. Surely, other studios would be interested in a seamless universe with full persistence and the ability to let thousands of players interact with one another, right? It turns out that the reason I am making this assumption is because over the course of its lifespan, Star Citizen has managed to achieve something truly remarkable. Somehow, it changed the expectations players now have for their games. And this is something that we...
Maybe. So the legacy... So even if Star Citizen dies, other games will try to live up to the expectations that Star Citizen set that killed it in the first place? I'm not sure I buy that. Which is why I believe Starfield went the loading screen route. I think they looked at Star Citizen. I think they looked at Elite, and they saw that it gets in the way of delivering a good gameplay experience and decided to go for the loading screens. And I think they overdid it quite a bit, but at least I'm getting to my gameplay consistently. So, that's a tough one for me.
Can see at this very moment, as Starfield has recently been released, and a lot of players are being disappointed due to the game lacking features that had been taken granted. For example, seamless transitions, a full physicalization of transportation, the possibility to go anywhere we want. In short, the possibility to...
Okay, should I list off all the things that Star Citizen is lacking? That Starfield had? Like, dude, I get it. The immersion factor of Star Citizen is really nice, but do we have to list off, quest lines, storytelling, mission givers, companions, boarding, docking, like the base building, ship building, side missions, like do we have to make these comparisons? Do we have to do this? Like the legacy of Starfield will continue to live on in other games because it's, a traditional, decently made RPG. Again, I give it like a 6 or 7 out of 10. This isn't like the greatest game I've ever played. Star Citizen has the potential to be the greatest game we've ever played because of the things that Eradicator listed. But if they don't do those other things, it kind of makes it impossible to achieve those goals.
Enjoy a limitless experience, something that Star Citizen has been offering for years at this point, and that other studios...
the experience is incredibly limited because there's nothing to do. Come on,
studios
man.
are just incapable of achieving. And mark my words, the drama we are seeing around Starfield, as it is being deemed technologically outdated by a fair share of the community, is nothing compared to the noise we will hear when Star Wars Outlaws will be released,
I'm
as
marking
the
the words.
upcoming Ubisoft title will be plagued by the same shortcomings Bethesda game is being roasted for, but with less features and less functionalities. And quite frankly, if Starfield is getting the feedback it does because of its technological obsolescence,
I'm not gonna lie. Even if this is a cutscene, this is a better cutscene from leaving the planet than Starfield. Legion, I would stay out of this one just because you work there. But yeah, the game's not out yet, and I think most people play Star Wars games. I don't want to say most people. I will speak for myself. Star Wars games, no matter what the gameplay is, tell a story in the Star Wars universe, which is incredible, amazing, and there's so much to sink your teeth into that regardless of the gameplay, I'm going to be checking this game out. And to say that it will have the same lacking features, again, it will also not lack in the places where Star Citizen lacks. So just will we have seamless transitions out of the planet or whatever? Maybe, maybe not. Probably not. I think we're making proper assumptions here that most game companies aren't stupid enough to make the decisions that Star Citizen did to lead it to an 11-year game development cycle with zero gameplay. Right? So that's probably a good thing.
Then
it's also
there
gonna
won't
release.
be any other game these people will ever appreciate, because no studio will ever take the risks of developing the technologies that Cloud Imperium Games have developed
Because they're not dumb.
over the past decade, unless they take the
And because they don't want to scam their audience.
same business approach as Cloud Imperium Games as far as fundraising is concerned, or they directly buy the tech from Cloud Imperium Games, which is why if there's ever going to be a so-called Star Citizen killer, it's not really going to be an actual killer, but more either a spiritual successor if created using the same methods, or an
Ubisoft is dumb. Every Ubisoft game I've ever played, whether I don't know if it's published by them or developed by them, but every one I've played, I've enjoyed.
offshoot based on the original, say for example a Star Wars version, for example if it gets made with purchased tech. Either way, Star Citizen would live through these games, which would then contribute to perpetuating its legacy. Last but not least, and to me this is the most likely,
I know I'm like very critical of Star Citizen, but my wife says it, all gamers do is complain. All they do is complain. They can never be happy just enjoying the game anymore. It's kind of crazy, man. It's really crazy. Like, there are problems with Starfield, but I play the game and I just have a good time. Like, it's just simple, man. I don't get it. I don't get it.
It's entirely possible that Star Citizen goes on to live for decades to come, following the model of EVE Online, which has found ways over the past decades to not only renew itself content-wise and technologically-wise, but has also found ways to renew its player base. And given how much content and gameplay features are still to come for Star Citizen, 100 systems, anyone? Alien races, capital ship battles, and let's
he barely has mentioned like basic gameplay.
not forget about all of these missing professions we've been promised for ages, such as passenger transport, data runner, farming, actual exploration, then the list goes on and on. There's still so much that's been promised that still needs to be done, and I have no doubt that the developers at Clan Imperial Games are going to be busy for the next decades to come to eventually finalize everything that's been pitched to us back.
I think this year really tells us that we're going in a trend where if they don't deliver on actual features soon, they will not have decades of time to continue to develop the game. Right? Like, that's the thing here is, yes, we all believe that Star Citizen's intentions are to be an MMO, which means there'll be expansions, there'll be updates. They're always going to be working on things, right? We all hope the game lasts decades. I think that's his intention here and what he means, right? like World of Warcraft, things like that. We hope Star Citizen lives for a very long time. But if they don't continue, if they don't work on things soon, this year really shows a trend that players aren't willing to spend money the way they were before because they've been duped enough, right? They see a CitizenCon, they get excited by something like the Kraken or the Pioneer or the Idris or the this or the that, and then they see the things that are shown at CitizenCon or the things that are shown in the videos, and then them just go away, you know? And then they just don't say anything about them anymore, and they don't make them, or the demo was faked or whatever, right? And it's just like, I think people are finally coming along.
In the early 2010s, but here comes the giveaway question, guys. In order to get a chance to win a Drake Vulture Best in Show edition, how long do you think it will take Cloud Imperium Games to finish off all of the promised features? I would love to read your estimations in the comment section down below. So there you have it. Why I believe that at this point Star Citizen is just eternal. It's just never going to die, either because of its legacy or because it will always end up offering something new that will keep players excited.
Bro, I think Star Citizen's going to have a legacy, but I think it's going to look a lot more like Chronicles of Illyria than fucking WoW.
Excited. With that comes the end of this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please let me know with the like button down below. And if you think I deserve it, why not subscribe for more gaming content? A big shout out to my YouTube and Patreon members.
Something's got to give for that legacy to be a positive one.
Without them, I wouldn't be able to make all of these videos, including Dr. Robin, Zeo Crusher, and Deplorable Infidel. I've been Irad. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys in the next one.
It's weird.
Thank you so much for watching a premium video like
I really agree, like, with some of the things that he's saying. Its legacy can have it live on forever. It could really change the way that games are developed in the future if they deliver on something, right? Pace is greatly reduced by Squadron 42. There's a number of factors that reduces the pace of Star Citizen. Squadron 42, the fact that they didn't have a company able to make a video game at the start, building studios, blah, 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 all the excuses they've given over the years, right? But the idea of it never dying, this is the first year where they are showing that they can die. They are showing that they have to deliver on something or they are going to fail, right? That is it. You have to deliver now. The community and the game has shown that they are not unbreakable. Because 318 and 319, I think, really broke us this year. And yeah, there's a lot of things that make Star Citizen great. There's a lot of things that make other games not great. But there's a lot of things that make those games great too. And we don't have a lot of those things in Star Citizen yet. So we'll see. They're currently treading water slowly and sinking. I think they've been treading water the whole time, right? And they've done a good job of it. And yeah, maybe they're sinking a little bit or struggling, getting tired. And we'll see. We'll see what happens now. But they're definitely at a turning point, and I'd like to see them go in the right direction. But we'll have to see. And will Star Citizen last forever? At this point, it's hard to say.